Hello, my name is Luisa Machaco and I was invited by Davis and Maya Foye to talk about personal branding. I want to talk about personal branding today, but more in a personal note. I don't want to go too much the books, but I want to talk about what have I experienced with it. Before starting, I do want to read the meaning of personal branding that I found online. This is the process involved in creating a name and an image for a product in the consumer's mind. So you're trying to create the idea of a good product, of what you are. So, and what I have found out is that since we are really little, we are really paying a lot of attention into this part of marketing, even we don't realize. Branding is all about reputation, right? And since we are like children, and if we want to get more gift for Christmas, usually we try to behave better, we try to do more homework, we try to improve our reputation in front of our teachers, in front of our parents, so we can get this perception of people that we are good kids, right? So it's all about building the brand from yourself. This putting it in a really innocent way. So having said that, personal branding is all related with reputation and who you are and how are you presenting yourself to the world, right? And how are you presenting your products to the world. But before going into that, I remember that in the beginnings of Twitter and social media around 2008, 2007, there was a guy, a friend of mine, who was really into branding and really into vlogging and really into understanding the communities online. And by this time, people started to express their opinions through Twitter. And there was a lot of fighting and a lot of go forward from maybe mean conversations. And he was always telling to people, hey, think about your branding. Or he was just yelling branding, because people do not realize that the way they were speaking, it was going to influence their reputation at the end. And this fact of my friend always yelling branding, it made me realize that branding is not only how you perceive yourself and how do you want to see yourself and how do you want people to perceive you, is also that idea that people have from you. So how people do perceive you as a person and your qualities. So personal branding is a combination of those two. And when you are an entrepreneur, you really need to be aware of how do you build your personal branding, how you are showing yourself to the world, how are you showing your qualities, how are you showing your product, how are you showing what you do and what you can do for people, how you can help them, how you can help them to solve their problems or those needs they have, right? For me, personally, building this branding, it was really difficult because I studied several things during my life, and it was difficult for me to position myself in one space or in one branch. And I know that a lot of people do not know, but I did a bachelor in physiotherapy, then I was working as social media and community manager, and then I studied digital marketing, and then I came to the Netherlands and I did a master on academic research, specifically on Latin American studies, and I was doing pre-PhD on violence topics in Colombia. And then I really wanted to go back to marketing and growth hacking. So, but through all this time, people were always seeing me as a good photographer, a person who could do pictures. And in all those times that I had a gap, a working gap, people were asking me, hey, can you do the pictures for my website? Can you do the pictures for my wedding? Can you do some portraits because I need portraits for my visiting card? Can you do the portraits for the website of the university? I said, okay, perfect. So it was not only the way that I was trying to position myself, it was also how people were seeing me and those qualities that people were seeing from me. And so in that way, I had really had to think, how was I going to position myself in this market, trying to understand all those experiences and all those qualities I have, and people could actually see me as a person who knows about photography, in this case personal branding and marketing. So in short, some of those aspects that you really need to take into account to build your personal branding, you can call them like your secret sauce. That's how a lot of people call them. But what is that secret sauce? It is mostly your authenticity, your story, your personality, your integrity. How do you want people to perceive you? When I was trying to find these aspects, I read a book that it was called What Color Is Your Parachute? And this book taught me that you really need to go deeper, not only in your experiences in terms of working, but you also have to go deeper in your experiences as a person. Maybe you have to think, when you achieved a goal as a child, why did you achieve this goal? What helped you to achieve this goal? If you wanted to maybe travel to one place, what drove you there to travel to this place? So you have to try to find out all those little things of your passion and what makes you good to really start building your branding, because you also need to show your strength, but you also need to show sometimes where you're not so good at. And this is why you usually say that you also have to embrace your imperfections, because sometimes your strengths or your imperfections are the ones who are going to help you to connect with people. So as an entrepreneur, it is really important that you're always trying to find how to connect with people, how to connect with the audience, how to connect with your possible clients. And one of those ways is really trying to see in yourself what are those things that you have in common. Maybe one of those things that you have in common is that you are really good at dancing, maybe. And maybe it's also that you are not so good at cooking. And these are things that from your personality you can maybe mix into your branding, right? For me, one of the aspects that I always mix into my personal branding is my passion for nature, and my passion for plants, and my passion for find places of calm, and try to show this through the way I work, and also through my photography. And when in terms of growth hacking, I always try to combine and tell people how I love to build communities, right? Because that's a way to growth hack a product, trying to build a community around it. So I try always to mix all these passions and the things I'm good at, or maybe I'm not so good at, with my product. And these things about myself is what usually are going to be the differentiator point from the competition, from the other people who are in the market. But maybe you can find other points to differentiate yourself from other people. Me, because I'm selling myself more as a person than as a product, I try to find my differentiated factor on my personality and on the things I like, and on the also one of the differentiator factors is that I'm not only a photographer and a personal branding photographer, but also that I know about marketing, and that I know about how to position yourself online. Yeah, so you really need to try to look what is that thing that is going to make you stand out from the other people who are there, from your competition. And now to finish, I want to talk a little bit about some tips on how can you improve your branding and your personal branding, and I have them written on my blog, so if you want you can go to Luisa.photo and read it there. But some of these tips are embrace your imperfections. I already talked about. Maybe those things that are not so good at are going to be a point that you can connect with other people. Another is tell a story. You really need to engage people. You really need to engage them, and the way to engage them is telling them stories about yourself, about why do you believe that your product is good? How is this product going to help them? Tell stories about your relatives. Tell stories about experiences you have had. Tell stories about how do you work with other people. Tell stories. Just find a way so you can always be telling stories and engaging with people more than selling. Because if you are just offering all the time your product, that is going to put usually a barrier between you and this potential client. Another that I have here is find your voice. Finding your voice can be really difficult sometimes if you are not used to writing or you're not used to expressing your ideas, but you really need to find who you are and the way that you want to approach people. But when you have business that are a little bit more serious, like finances, or let's say again a funerary, you have to find a way that you have to approach your clients in a more respectful way. And maybe when you have a business like a teaching school, maybe you want to be a bit more informal and more engaging and more trying to be more close to the people you are going to teach, right? And the last one that I have is be present and be you. It is really, I find really bad, being honest, that people are usually when they are in a place, they are in a dinner, they are always sharing what they are doing right away. So please be present. Be present in those moments that you are with other people and not working, but also be present when you are talking to your audience. Be present means to show some quality of work, show things that are actually valuable for people to see and that are going to help people some way. Do not waste people's time. I really find time something really precious. So if I put something out, I would like that people will benefit from it and not to just waste their times, which they can have been taking care of their children or cooking or folding their laundry or making business or earning money. So I find time something really important in my life and in others people's life. So for today, these are my ideas about personal branding. If you want, I can answer your questions, so you can send them to Eazl and they can send them to me, or you can visit my blog. And I just hope that these ideas about how you can build your brand will help you further. Ciao!